Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first DU Horn Studio vlog. Um, I have to figure out what to call it. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Maybe like DU practice break, coffee break French horn, uh, unbreakable. No, I don't know what it's going to be called. I'll figure something out soon. Um, and that's not important. Okay, so I'll try to make these sort of bite sized so that like you're not faced with hours of material to watch one at a time. Um, but the first thing we're going to talk about is warm up. We have a lot of time to practice now, um, and so let's make use of it. Um, all right, so first things first. The beginning of the year, most of you got Michele Baker's warm up routine. Some of you got it when you joined on this past quarter. In any case, it seems like everybody's really liking it. So I wanted to talk about it a little bit more. I've been using it, however, I've modified it. Chances are, if you're just reading it down, you're probably not utilizing it um, to the fullest capacity as it pertains to you. When you sit down with your warm up, you need to cater it to what you feel like you need. So I'm going to talk a little bit. We'll see how far we get for this first episode about what I do with Michele's warm up. So first things first. Number one, the lip slurs down. So I don't go straight into it the way it's written. I actually play a long note before I start the slur because I just want to feel what that note feels like as it's settled. So I'll play probably about 8 beats, and then I'll go into that slur, and then I'll sequentially do the same thing. So it'll go a little bit like this. And so on. So basically what I'm doing there is I'm playing the whole note and I'm making sure I'm sort of like using my air to produce the note. The feeling that I'm really going for is more of a it's basically you want to go for what an air attack would feel like articulated. So if you want your first one to be an air attack, that's totally fine. You want your embouchure to be balanced in terms of like lips and what the air is vibrating. So, I haven't mentioned this before, but some of the things you might try is like, oh, what happens if I'm using a little bit more bottom lip or a little bit more top lip pressure? See what feels good to you. I've even done exercises where we take the mouthpiece and just kind of test the balance horizontally. So we'll do something like this. And that'll let you know where the flat sort of plane is. Um, and we'll talk about that a little bit more because, based on the shape of your teeth, the plane might not be directly on your face, right? So um, don't think that if you're looking in the mirror, the horn needs to be exactly aimed directly at your mouth. Chances are we all have slight imperfections in our teeth, and it's going to shift one way or the other depending on how you feel, and depending on the shape of your mouth. So that's how I do that first exercise. Now I've even done it where I start on the F above it. And work your way down or work your way up. I try to cover that partial series in every overtone that we have. Sorry, that overtone series and every partial series we have. I got to get my terminology together. And you're going to see that trend a lot with all of these exercises. Next is the octaves. Now, the octaves for me is really important to get to feel right, especially for me personally on the upward slur. I tend to want to force that, and I need to always make sure that it's happening naturally. So before I go on, I make sure that first slur feels okay. And for you, you don't have to start on the C. You can start on the G and work your way outwards. Whatever feels good for you. But what you want is the same sort of balanced feeling, and the slurs are just always connected. The air is moving in between them, and it should feel as relaxed as possible. And so on. And if you heard that last one, I actually checked with an air attack. I'll frequently throughout this warm-up just check my balance to make sure that I'm in the most responsive position, the easiest response. Just check back in. So when you articulate, you actually like make things easier for yourself, right? Like you kind of like, you can hammer that note through without it being maybe totally balanced. So every now and then I'll check with an air attack and just make sure I'm feeling all right. So let's go on to number 3. Now this is where I sort of like veer off. Sometimes I will do what's printed here, but recently I've been really into practicing lip slurs. Actually, I'm thinking about installing a lip slur challenge for you guys when we get back. And we'll have a prize for whoever has the fastest lip slur. But we'll see about that later. But basically what I do is I turn this into a lip slur attack, and I'll go all over the horn. So I'll start somewhat like what's printed, but I'll do it in the way that we practice our lip slurs. So if we set a metronome, let's set a metronome to, I like to set it to about 54 or 56 for this range. And when I'm down in this range, I'll start with quarter notes. In fact, sometimes I'll even do half notes. So I'll start with half notes this time. And I'll do that down to G, where and of course, just breathe wherever you need. Some of these will take more air, some will take less. But the idea is to keep everything connected with air. And just let it ride like that. Now, once I'm down to G, I'll start back on C, and I'll work my way up. I'll start on that, and then for the D flat, I'll change to the B flat horn and use 2, 3, D, E flat, E, F. Now, we'll end up on F like this. And once I get past the F, then I'll start over, and then the slurs become different intervals, obviously, right? So I'll work my way up from F to F sharp with an unusual fingering, which is on the B flat side, 1, 2, and 3. And then G, A flat, A, B flat, B, C. And so the interval will sound like this. Skip a couple. And so on. And so I'll get to C. Do it on C. Now, once I've done that, I'll switch to our traditional lip trill fingerings. And I'll play whole step lip trills from C back down to G. So, like this. And actually, when I'm up here, I'll speed it up. So I'll speed it up to about 60 beats per minute because I think I can handle that. And I'll work my way all the way back down to G. And obviously that G's on the F side, 1 and 3, right? So after I've done that, to finish it off, I'll go back to the C, play that again with a traditional lip trill fingering of just open, but then I'll work my way up to F. So D flat. And we'll go up to F. And I'll finish it out that way. Now, if you want to go further than that, then we can talk and we'll take it out of the box a little bit. But that really helps me. What lip trills do for you is really gives you fine control of your aperture and what's going on there. And you can check back in, you know, you can start these with air attacks also. And just make sure that you're feeling good and you're using the air and the response is as easy as possible. I know I say this a lot. I'm going to continue to say it. Because that is sort of like the pie in the sky that will make horn playing and brass playing in general just really easy for you. If you can find the response, you'll find yourself mentally and physically and emotionally and spiritually more at ease. Okay, so I think that's about enough for this installment. When we come back next time, I'll talk about what I do when I'm doing what's printed on the page. But maybe you guys have walked by the office and heard me doing this and wondering what it was. This is what I'm on right now. So anyways, if you have any questions, write back to me in the group or on, maybe we can make a place for it on notebooks. Oh, I've already started a notebook for us on OneNote. If you can't get access to that, let me know. And we'll figure it all out. But that was the first episode. I'm going to have more bling later. I'm going to have a better camera. I have a microphone. I have no idea what this sounded like. But we're going to figure that all out in time. And we're going to figure out this next quarter, and we're going to figure out the horn. So, like I said, if you have any questions, just write me. And We'll talk again soon. All right. Ciao.